Hey friends, I'm here with the mother of Justin Waller, and she showed me proof. So yes, some people say this is a random woman, but no, she is confirmed. She is the mother of Justin Waller. Justin Waller, he is a lot in the gang of Andrew Tate, which is blowing up on the internet. And the reason why I have this blue suit is actually because I was watching Justin Waller in the past. He came across very professional, very good advice. The more I was looking at his video, the more inconsistency it became. And I think he's not always saying the truth. And a week ago, I saw a video of Justin Waller's mom, Julie Waller. And I was like, this is very interesting because a lot of my audience is coming from Justin Waller. And it might be very interesting to see multiple viewpoints. This won't be a bashing of Justin Waller. This will be objectively. It's not from my side that I will say anything bad about Justin because I don't know him as well as Julie Waller does. So I will ask her questions and maybe we find something interesting. And some of you guys who believe some of the words of Justin might be convinced that he is not always saying the truth. Julie.
Yes. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning over there. From here, it's
morning here, so good evening to you.
Good evening from Amsterdam and good morning in Denver, Colorado. I wonder, how did you actually find out about the videos of Justin?
I had a young woman who found me on Facebook through his Facebook that I was listed as his mother. And she had looked at all my pictures and sent me a message, and I just so happened to be sitting getting chemo one day and saw it.
And what was your initial reaction?
I called him. He didn't pick up. He texted me back, "What's up?" I can show you the text. I have no problem doing that, showing you. It was July 29th. I had left him probably the most primal screaming he's ever heard in his life. Because I had spent probably a good hour watching him bash us, especially me, and his stepdad, and his community, and his heritage. You know, you were talking about where you're from. You know, you don't slam your heritage. It's a very dishonorable thing to do.
In my opinion, the first thing I see is, and this is not really an American thing because we also see it here all the time. Mm-hmm. This online thing, people can be anyone who they want. So
right.
People can. You see this with students. They grow up in a small town, they go to a college town, and they try to fully rebrand themselves. Because nobody cares and nobody has to know what their background is. Do you think Justin has done something like that? Like, maybe he bashes his background, but is it maybe because it's all business?
Well, the business of hate? You know, why say it like this? You know, Denham Springs is a rinky-dinky little town. We've got a little antique section of it, and it's very musically, you know, kind of done. And, you know, here in the last few years, there's been some math problems and what so have you. But it's not a trailer park. It's actually a historically beautiful little town. And he was a football star. He had a lot of people that loved him and a lot of people that held him up. So why not tell the positive story then instead of trashing your family and your community?
Yeah, that is indeed what surprised me because he talks a lot about Trump and Art of the Deal. And I know a little bit of that marketing 101, a little bit of rebranding and stuff like that. However, if you're so into the marketing of Trump, then you would definitely have your family as the first priority.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what happened in between. Can you maybe tell what the history has been from Justin until now?
Well, on many of my videos, and I talk and I answer what he's saying about me and how I financially ruined his father and all this other kind of stuff, I'd like to share. So these are court pieces.
Yes.
My married name at the time was Coffin. And you'll see Douglas Waller, that's his father, versus Julie. And it states on here in several times, as per requested by the child psychologist, for Doug Waller to stop villainizing me and to stop filling his children's heads with this kind of stuff. And he didn't. And, you know, all Justin's doing is going out and repeating what his deranged father had said.
I had some friends who maybe have a little bit of narcissistic personality disorder. I'm not saying that Justin might have that.
I will.
You know him a bit better than me. And I always wonder, is it like a combination of nature or nurture? Because if I believe the stories of you and the stepdad of Justin, you guys raised him pretty good. And he was a football star. There was actually not that much which could have been bad for him in his youth. So,
well, no. Let's back this up. Where we lived in that part of the country is very hurricane prone. And so we went through a lot of hurricanes. I was part of Hurricane Katrina. My beautiful new home was destroyed with Hurricane Katrina. We had his dad constantly suing us. I was working 12 hours a day and then going and taking care of elderly people at night just to pay the legal fees and pay for Justin's baseball. I was diagnosed with PTSD 4 times while Justin was growing up. So there was a lot going on and a lot of hardship, but there was also a lot of really good things. And the real story is a family that had to persevere.
Exactly. And which family does not have to persevere?
Right.
And actually, that's even a beautiful story. If Justin has the background that he has, that he can actually say that he had a loving family. They weren't that rich, but he grew up, put up his bootstraps, and became from a blue collar to multimillionaire.
Yeah. Why not say that story? You know, and you talked about the narcissism, and I explained this on John Anthony's show. He was my mother's namesake, so my whole family loved him. He has the red hair of my mother's people. Very, very proud of him. He was very athletic. What man and grandparent wouldn't love a very athletic child? You know, he's always been cheered on. Everybody's screaming his name from the time he was 4 years old on. Well, after college, nobody's screaming his name anymore. And he doesn't have that food to fill him and thousands of people telling him he's wonderful. So he's got to come up with this facade and say, oh, I had this terrible childhood. You know, we went through a lot of things. I did a lot of things wrong. Children don't come with instructions. You know, you just do the best you can.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of sad because I also saw a lot of the comments that people were either hating you. Well, first of the things is like, they didn't believe that you're the mother. Well, you showed me the proof, so definitely you're the mother. And a lot of these comments I also saw from people that also have issues with their own family, that I don't like my mom, I don't like my family, they are all toxic. And in my opinion, I've seen these people.
Yeah, so he's feeding into that psyche of, I'm just like you. When in reality, he had a family that loved him, that never missed a game, and a stepdad that, you know, I'm going to show later on, it's on his stepdad's Facebook page, has tons of pictures of Justin on there. He, you know, and that crap about him not having a dad, that's a lie. He had a dad that filled him with vile and venomous lies, and then he had a dad that tried to love it away.
Yeah, it's sad that he then goes after his stepdad and not his real dad.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I get asked, why am I doing this? Okay, generations from now, or just in 10 years, heck, one of my grandsons already seeing this. Devastated hearing what Uncle Justin is saying about Papa. And it doesn't make sense. I'm not married, I'm not with this man anymore. He's not my favorite person either. I usually refer to him as damn Kunaz. All right. He was the biggest kid, but I cannot say that he did not love his children, and Justin and his sister were his kids, and I have got to stop that lie, and I cannot let my grandchildren hear that kind of lies about their grandfather or about me. Right now I'm reviewing more about, what he's saying about his stepdad. I haven't even got to me yet.
He is the youngest or the oldest of 5, right?
He's the oldest of 5.
Does he have contact with his brothers and sisters?
He has very close contact with his sister that's from the same father. Now, she was fed the same venom, and I'm noticing that it's so stupid. She went all over John Anthony's thing, and the name of her channel is Who Is She? I mean, I figured it out like this, by what she's saying. She knew enough to, it's his sister. And she really helped him get through. She took a lot of did his homework, helped him, and she's into this venomous lies too. She's going around saying, oh, my dad, blah, blah, blah. And she's turned her children against, so she's done the same thing, but she's also been fed the pig trough of vileness.
I understand that. However, in my opinion, after high school, even after college, you should be like, okay, now I'm mature, and now I should be actually forgive my parents, forgive the environment and stuff.
Yeah. And what I'm thinking, so they're adults now, and these records can be unsealed at the courthouse. Why not go to the courthouse and find out for yourself the truth? And if I had anything to hide, I would be preventing them from going to the courthouse. I'm encouraging them to, before you go on YouTube, before you lie again, make sure what you're saying is true. Read the psychologist's reports. Read what the judge said. Read who filed first. Read the sheriff's incident reports from when his father pulled knives on me and tried to really hurt me. Read it for yourself.
As you said before, Justin might have this target group of young men, maybe around 15, maybe 20 older, that are looking for someone who fed him like a direction, because a lot of these guys, they only have a father, they don't follow religion, so they need to have these false idols, and the internet is full of them these days. And for me, Justin was relatable because he is a few years older than me. He's 36, I'm 34. And he also has a construction background. So it was really interesting to find out that not is he only saying stuff just to target his brand, but he might even believe some of that stuff. Or he might believe in his own lies.
Right. He knows better. He really does.
As you said, he can go to the court and find out about himself. And is that true that he...
And if I was lying, I wouldn't say that.
No, it's like, why would a mother do that? But maybe that's my background, but people...
And, why would a mother do that? All right, Justin Waller's mother, he still has 3 half-siblings. This mother is defending them and their dad.
True. Was he always... did he always have this mannerism? Because maybe that could also be a rebranding, like the cowboy mannerism, the woo screaming, always having a shirt on. Was he always like that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's true about him.
There is this horrible old country song that we used to sing to him to tease him. And it says, "Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. I can't wait to look in the mirror because I get better looking each day." We sang that to him, teasing him, because he was always extremely vain and, full of himself.
So at least
but
that's good about him.
I didn't think it would turn into a narcissistic monster.
Do you think it could be because he has some external influences? Because as you see, he is hanging out with the Sterling Cooper guy, with the Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. And I see their videos. I know these guys for a long time. I know Andrew Tate 5 years ago because he was boxing a fellow Dutchman and he got KO'd in round 1. And I think that's why he was rebranding himself now as well. Because a lot of stuff that he says is, maybe it's an marketing thing, but it's from exaggerating to point out lying. And I see that Justin is also doing that. Do you think it's that he has this demon speaking to him?
I think that goes back to what I said earlier. He's always been praised, and he had learning disabilities, and I'm really into positive mindset type of things, and and would tell him that a right brain learner is actually smarter than a left brain and all that kind of stuff. But at the ball fields, somebody's screaming your name every time you step out of the ball pit or, onto the field or something like that. You that feeds you. And he didn't have that. And I think he saw that fame and fortune and that adoration coming back if he went along with what they were doing. Now, I don't know if he went to the Tates and said, "Yeah, this is me too," and lied to them, or if they agreed upon him spewing what his father was court ordered to stop saying. So I don't know if, where that connected.
It could be that he lies or that these people don't care, because there's something which I noticed. I follow a lot of these internet people since a long time. And I noticed that people usually correlate success with money and fame. And a lot of time, to get to that point, they have to give up a lot of stuff. And if some people say they will do anything to do money and fame to get that, they also mean they will to do anything. They will bash their family, they will get rid of their heritage, and maybe they will just birds on a feather flock together, right? So
and and I have a lot of people that are coming on my channel and saying that kind of thing, and my reply is, if he will do this to his own mother, a stepdad that loved him, his brothers and sisters, his whole community, do you really think he gives a rat's ass about you?
That's what I really want to tell people, the young people over there, that if Justin doesn't even care about his family, why do you think he cares about you?
Right. He cares about you $49 every month.
Exactly. So this is the type of people that's on the internet. They pay they get money, and whether it's good or bad, we just keep objective right now. But we have to tell the truth as well. And especially when you make a video and you say that Justin just lies to people, then I definitely have to see that side as well.
Right. And that's something else that's been brought up. I want to see the other side. And I'm like, do you not count? You've heard Justin's. This is mine.
And we see Justin's side everywhere. Like, we see him on all these podcasts, and let's just call them misogynistic podcasts. I don't have any better word for that. And
let's see. Here, let me help you. Sex trafficking, human trafficking, date rape.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Exactly, like all that stuff. And I feel bad for the youth, because I'm not sure. I was also a confused boy, but when I was 15, when I was 25, all these people, they were not online, but I see these people come and they have this audience, and it's always young people, always young men, or a little bit immature men. And they get a huge following. Like some of these people, they have 500,000 subscribers. And a lot of these things on the internet, I see, and I'm like, do people really believe this stuff? because you have the red pill community. I didn't even know about the black pill community like a few months ago. And now you have these communities that they don't even support each other. That's the thing. It's like every bad word that you say about Justin or Sterling or about Andrew Tate, then they use a particular language, like you're a brokey, you're poor, and all that stuff. And I'm like, you don't even have an identity. So you're looking for someone who has an identity, but that person is also stealing your money and also lying to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do notice I've gone on a lot of his sites and a lot of the Hustlers University sites, and it's 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids.
It is.
That are from broken homes, that are trying to find a connection, trying to find an idol. And that's what's really sickening. He's building himself up as, yeah, babe, got you, understand you. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
No, definitely not. There's a saying in the Bible, you cannot serve God and mammon. You cannot serve two masters. So, and that's what you see with a lot of people these days as well. They don't go to church. They don't have any spirituality. They have a bad relationship with their parents. So, and it's also pop culture that popularizes the phrase "get rich or die trying." And a lot of times, also the whole morality goes away from people. Why would you want to work hard in construction if you can make money by scamming people?
Right.
Can you summarize?
And you brought up Trump. Yeah. This is how far away I am from that mindset. I worked on the Bernie campaign.
Yeah.
In Colorado. So, it's just, feel that burn, baby. Let's save the world. Stop global warming.
We have that, yeah.
And I get called a women's activist. Yep. Sure am.
And then that's why I got surprised by how far Justin actually got, because when I look at you and you're a women's rights activist, he should know better, right?
Yeah.
Or is he just, yeah.
Well, I mean, come on, when you're raised from a mother that's very strong, and he came from a matriarchal home, and I think that's part of the, I did run the home. And when I was building our house, a contractor went up to my husband and was complaining that I had changed something. And he said, look, he goes, I don't like dealing with people. I don't like fooling with this. If she's talked to you, she's talked to me. Please deal with her. And that's the way it was. And he'll say, oh, she manipulated my dad and she manipulated my stepdad. No, stepdad just didn't like fooling with people. It was easier for me, a strong, intelligent woman, to handle things.
And you get a lot of influences because people are getting kicked out of the Hustler University because they're finding out about your videos. And you can just see that there's no room for any criticism. Like, there's only one way and our way. And that is really like a cult following. And a lot of young people, they just don't know, they just don't realize it, or they just don't care. But the people who get money, they think even less about them. Justin has said some stuff about you and the stepdad in Fit, and I Present Fit podcast because that's the biggest podcast he's been. I know you have been telling the stories also on other channels.
Yeah, your audio is kind of getting grumbly.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hear me now? All right. So Justin said some stuff about you and his stepdad on Fit, and
it's kind of breaking up.
Now it's better?
Mm-hmm.
All right, maybe we should just do this. I know that Justin said some stuff about you and his stepdad in, I would say, Fresno, because that's the biggest platform. He's come and going over there. I know you've told this multiple times on your channel and also on John Anthony. You might do this more often in the future, but can you show some proof that what he says is true? What he said about you on the first night.
Can I show proof that what he's saying
would be
is
amazing.
true? Like, which one in particular?
Let's say the point that Yeah, I don't want to say that the point that he said that you were a little bit promiscuous, like you had, like
I'm a little bit what? I'm
promiscuous.
sorry.
I'm not really know if that's English word. English is my fourth language, by the way.
Oh, promiscuous.
Yes.
All right, let me address that. When a man is insecure with his masculinity, with his sexuality, with himself. And at this time in my life, I was an exceptionally beautiful woman. And everybody was, I was sleeping with everybody, and he is taking times when I was taking the kids to church and I was involved in church type activities, and he was accusing me of having sex with pastors. What's a bigger lie? First of all, Mormons don't have pastors. At this time I was Mormon. They have bishops. So he's not even calling it correctly.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know that, I guess. I didn't know that. It's the first time I actually know.
Yeah, so just in the terminology, it's wrong. But what kind of sicko accuses their wife of having sex with a bishop because maybe she's late coming back from church?
Yeah, someone
really?
Very insecure.
But it was that kind of crap. Or if I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things that I like to do, like I'm very artistic, and I had to ask permission to leave the house. So it was that kind of abuse going on, and that's what his father was telling him.
It's kind of sad that you have to lie like that.
So basically his father's been, brainwashing him like this his whole life, and his dad should have known this day would come, that I would stand up and I would show court records and I would show child psychologist records and shut him down.
Definitely. I also think that young men follow Justin and his gang because they just don't know how to handle women or how to behave with women, and the media is also like having the Me Too and stuff like that. I think a lot of young men are confused. What can these men do instead of following these people? Because they don't have any other outlets. So, that's also the reason why they follow Andrew Tate, Justin Waller, and Sterling Cooper, and their dating advices on Fresh and Fit.
I'm not going to say if I was. I've studied lots of different religions, and so I'm not going to say go to church. Let's make this make it easier. Join martial arts. Join karate. They talk about morality. They talk about humanity. They talk about being a good person and how to treat other people. If you don't like religion, fine. Go join martial arts. Google actually has some really good marketing classes. They came to Denver for marketing professionals, and I was able to go to their classes. And so check into that. Some really good type things. And believe it or not, Team National was something that Justin and I joined together. This is some marketing information, and it sounds a lot like what Justin's saying. So there's other avenues that's not with the undercurrent of let's damn all women.
To notice that indeed what he says is almost like written by a copywriter. It's not even his own words. So that's why I'm like, did he got it from the Tate or someone else?
Right.
Because he wasn't talking this when he was young, right?
Well, he speaks a lot about all different kinds of, self-help kind of people, like was it Tony Robbins? I like Tony Robbins too.
Yeah, but that was a standard indeed.
And I just I'm reading it and I'm like, oh God, that sounds familiar. That sounds familiar.
He has a high position in the Hustler University. I think he's a general in the war room. And looking at the marketing that they do, it's really a Ponzi scheme. Do you think he had it also from a Success Club, or do you think he got it from somewhere else?
I think a lot of it combined. His grandfather was an Amway. I always worked jobs and would do side marketing things. I sold cosmetics and that kind of stuff. So he was exposed to it. The pamphlet that I just held up was something that he got involved with right after construction. Him and I both did together. He actually paid for my membership so we could do it together. And it was buying computers and stuff like, it was an affiliate program for business owners to get better deals on office supplies and what have you. So he's always been around it. And I'm sure in college he took marketing courses because he, construction management. So I just think he saw what the Tates were doing and was like, I want in.
Yeah, so he can get fanboys under him, would cheer on what he does, of course.
Yeah.
So I also saw that, I saw a picture of him lying on your lap. So I always thought he might be a mama boy. And of course, you not disrespect women if you are a mama boy, right? Can you show the picture? So it's...
Yeah, man. Yeah, sure. You mean this one?
Exactly. Look, that proof for everyone that...
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying he looks fat, but he doesn't look really hard. That stomach is flat.
Yeah, he doesn't look fat at all.
And this is at his sister's house. Yeah, but this is the kind of nutty stuff he would do. I was actually sitting there loving on his sister, and he wanted attention, so he goes and lays across us. But he would do stuff like that just to, get me to pet on him.
I mean, you would think that they would just continue on in his adult life. So how long are you not in contact with Justin? Like, physically? Like when he visited you for Christmas? When was the last time you saw him in real life?
The last time I physically saw him was 6 years ago when I went home for Christmas, and he came over and we shared. I had cooked for him and spent some time with him and what have you. The last time I had in contact with him was actually, and I will be happy to show you, a week ago. It was July 29th. I had texted him. I had just found out. Oh, here we go. All right.
Hey, I can't talk right now. What's up? I'm watching videos. Was that the videos that you were talking about?
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I have fluid on my lungs from breast cancer.
That's okay. So that's actually kind of sad that a lot of people you that you are looking for attention because you have cancer. And then I'm like, if you need a GoFundMe to raise capital for your cancer, why can't the multimillionaire Justin Waller help his mother? So I'm not sure why.
Right. Let's say I was a bad mother. Yeah. Let's say I was bad. And granted, you don't have to help your parents. You don't have to be an honorable person. Granted, he did not have to. And he flat out told me he did not feel that I was his responsibility. And I will say this, if he shows up at my door hurt or sick and needing my help, he will be my responsibility to my last breath.
That's what mothers should do in these
So that's the
things.
difference.
I always thought that sons did that, but maybe he got raised a different way. Maybe he just makes up something in his mind. What happened 6 years ago? Do you think something happened?
Yeah.
Do you think he got some bad influences that...
No, he's just been doing this thinking I wouldn't find out, which is stupid. It is stupid. I mean, oh my God, I'm a nationally recognized advocate. I mean, what the hell made him think that I wouldn't eventually find out?
Or maybe he doesn't care. I think he does care because...
He doesn't care. He doesn't care, and he was banking I was too sick. I think I would come out of the grave like a Cajun, a zombie apocalypse before I put up with this. Nope, nope, nope. Not happening.
Justin has been telling stuff on the internet. Some things are true, some things are less. I think the professionality in his earlier videos, I think that might help some people out. However, there are some young people who listen to every word that he says, and you can go point by point. Let's make a general concept. Why shouldn't people listen to Justin?
Because everything he's saying is a lie, and he's inspiring people on lies, and he's getting into their psyche and making that common bond. I went on Anthony's show, and how I feel about sexuality and the way he feels about sexuality is polar difference. You find common ground. And any marketer knows that. If you're trying to get a sale, if you're trying to get in, you find common ground. And he's recruiting these impressionable young boys that are hurting and heartsick and going, oh yeah, I got you. I had a bad life too. So he's conning you on that. And it's wrong. And you need to call him out on it. Post the show on it.
And I hope you are getting interviews for other shows as well, so you get more platforms, because people are listening to you.
I am.
If even one person can be benefited from that, because I'm really afraid that some young people will go to jail.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm worried too. I'm worried that young men will go to jail, and I'm worried that young women will be horrifically harmed.
And that's the sad thing with the internet. Everyone can just... if you're mature, then you can see through the exaggeration, but these young guys, they think everything that these Tate brothers and Justin says that's actually just a word of truth.
Right. Well, and let me make something really, really clear. I have done this absolutely on the down low, and as far as trying to get attention, I don't know if you've checked out my Facebook site, but there's nothing on my Facebook, on my Instagram, on my Twitter, on my LinkedIn about this. I am horrifically mortified at what my son's doing. I am so ashamed of him. I'm just heartsick isn't a big enough word. So that's not the case at all. You can't play on people's emotions. And one of the things that really upsets me bad is he has a picture on the Rich Cooper show, and he'll flash it right at the 19-minute sign of him being obese. That picture was in my house. My hand is in that picture. I'm holding his brother. You can see me a little bit. The baby that he's holding is in 2000. He was born 2005, excuse me. So that would make this 2006. If you look at that picture, that baby has a widow's peak.
I can see that.
Looks like that.
Yeah.
There's Justin. Nice and thin. And I'm sorry, this after Hurricane Katrina, there's water damage on this picture. I can't take it out of the glass. So that's why it's like that. So if he's going to use this picture, that dates it. That makes Justin 20 years old. That makes Justin in the best shape of his life before his injury. That makes trying to get his scholarship. So, I mean, this man was at the top of his physical game when he's trying to tell people he was fat. And this picture, it has a shirt that's tucked in and it's coming out a little bit. And it would be so easy just to Photoshop that. I could Photoshop that, without any problem. Now, if you look at the picture on my page of him and I together, that's actually what Justin Waller looked like at 25, supposedly when he was fat. If you go to my Facebook page and go to 2011, you'll see tons of pictures of Justin, and none of them fat. What's bad about this is his grandmother was one of the first people to have weight loss surgery. She struggled horribly with it. His little sister had to take steroids. This is also 2005, 2006. She had to take steroids, and she gained a lot of weight from it and had a hard time losing it. People like that, like his little sister, he's mocking because she gained weight. She couldn't help it. I'm on a hormone-suppressing chemo. It makes me gain weight. You've seen the little kids with leukemia, and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that'll make you be fat. And a lot of it's out of your control. I was taking gabapentin for nerve pain. I gained 15 pounds in a month.
Fluid indeed.
So to go on there and say that he relates and he understands, he's mocking his family members that actually do have problems. His poor brother is fighting diabetes. Why not help him? Why not really help him?
If you have the money, the first thing you should help is your family.
Yeah, man.
I wonder if it's, because I assume most of his family members are also not cheering on him. The Tate brothers have also no contact with their sister because the sister is absolutely horrified with what they are doing. But for some reason, their mom allows it. So, yeah, I guess their mom's cheering out.
Not this mom.
Exactly. Some people were saying in the John Anthony interview, half the mom of the Tate brothers also online, but I guess their mom is just tolerating what they are doing, but not their sister. Neither are you.
Well, and he will talk. Justin will talk about my family not liking me. That's true. That's true. I don't fit the Mormon mold. I'm not going to. I like who I am. I like that I have questions, and I've looked at other things. Mormon women aren't usually boldy. I'm an activist. And I do shit like this. And if you do wrong, I'm going to tell you about it. But I'm going to do it, say, I love you, but you're wrong. And that doesn't fit the mold either.
True.
And, not everybody goes along with me, and that's fine. Because I have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that do love me and do appreciate me.
That's what you need. And not a fake love, like being a fanboy. Real love.
No.
There might be an opportunity. There might be an opportunity that Justin might see this video, because I will play with the keywords, so people who will look for Justin Waller, they will find videos like this. If he looks for the video and he sees you, what is something that you want to tell him?
If he wants me to stop, he will publicly apologize and put it on every social media, on every video, and tell these people he's lying. And he's sorry. Not just to me. I want him to apologize to his city. I want him to apologize to his state that helped him. Every coach, every mentor that he said that he didn't have, he needs to apologize to. He needs to apologize to every young man he deceived and said that he knew what they were going through. I want him to apologize to every single person that's ever had a weight problem that believed in him. And after he's through apologizing to everybody and God himself, then he needs to apologize to me.
Good words. And it's so ironic that even though he grew up in a small town, even here in the Netherlands, he still has some influence. So the internet brings people together. Both for the good and for the bad. Talking about Amsterdam and you having chemo, I also saw that you were working for Weedworks. Do I pronounce it good? Weedworks?
It kind of broke up for a second there. What did you ask me about Weedworks?
Yeah, you worked for that, or did you do an interview? Or...
Yes. I was the director of commercialization and promotions. We had stores all over the world, in Australia, all over the United States. And we did mainly CBD that was infused with terpenes. And terpenes are, what's in the other plant and really what makes it work. There's, cannabis is very diversified and very, very different. And I actually did a lot of legislation type shows on there. And I did a lot of medical shows, had a lot of doctors, a lot of lawyers.
I do notice that I talk from the perspective of someone from Amsterdam, the weed capital of the world. Not anymore, but how did you change your perspective on weed? Because I've seen some of the commercials back in the days in the US, and it got very demonized. In CBD, actually everything with weed, everything with hemp. Where did it change to start for you that you change your opinion?
Okay, so he will tell you that I was a weed smoker. And I actually was a closet weed smoker. I mean, I would be on campaigns and stuff, but I also have severe scoliosis and I'm in excruciating pain. There's a part of my spine that's completely suppressed that talks to my gut. So I have had violent IBS with horrible nausea and what have you. His younger brother has epilepsy, and I have a seizure disorder. Like if I take pharmaceuticals and stuff like that, I'll have seizures. If I have stress, I'll have seizures and that sort of thing. And so I had all of this going on. My grandmother was an herbalist. But she was also a registered nurse. And Justin grew up on herbs. You come in with a cold at my house, I'm going to bring you a tea. And so that's the kind of mindset. And I've always been into plant medicines, And it's not just cannabis. I can sit here and talk to you about a lot of different things. And so, yeah, that's true. But it wasn't until 2014 when my whole family, due to a nuclear exposure to radiation, and everybody was getting cancer, including my dad, did I realize that I needed to really get serious about cannabis and get some good, clean help. And I flew out to California, which is also really good for cannabis as well, and talked to several doctors. There was a doctor that was in Denver, and I got a job in Denver, so I moved to Denver so I could go to not just cannabis doctors, but to other holistic doctors in that world, because that's what my body needed.
I think Denver is even more open-minded than Amsterdam.
So that's bad.
Funny enough, yeah.
I'm sorry. You don't agree?
A lot of people think from Amsterdam that everyone is like open-minded. And to be honest, the best explanation, the best comparison analogy I give is like most people who are against McDonald's are from the US because they know how bad it can be. And I've seen... I've been to 35 countries, and I've seen most people in any capital who are against weed and cannabis offers Amsterdam some reason. Maybe I just find these people because I have seen...
I have a lot of friends that have gone.
I know. It's a lot of expats and tourists who come here. And that's a little bit how we see it as locals as well. Because I've seen a lot of people, a lot of my friends get messed up on weed because they were spending so much money against it. They actually did not respect it. Like you said, you use cannabis for holistic reasons. Right. And a lot of people here, they abuse the recreational side of it. And for me, I'm really objective against it. I don't really have an opinion about it. People can...
Oh, did I lose you?
Yeah, for some reason it got stopped.
Hey,
I hope it's recorded. I think it's recorded. It will be kind of sad if it's gone.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So let me touch base and explain a little bit about cannabis. First of all, if you're a medical professional and you want accreditation, there's a very phenomenal medical conference coming up in Denver that a good girlfriend of mine has, and she has all the big doctors from Israel come in and Spain come in, and if you're a doctor or a nurse, you can get that help. On the medical side, I have seen very strong medicine that a lot of people are using. One I would say is opioid level. And that is the dabbing and the oils and stuff like that. But I have also seen those oils been applied to a child's feet to stop a grand mal seizure. One of my best friends has the biggest refugee cannabis organizations in the world, and she has video after video of her stopping her son's Dravet syndrome seizures with rubbing the oil on his feet. There is several different ways that you can access cannabis as a medical patient. I take a nano-infused syrup. I like that. The body accepts the sugar in the very, very low amount. It's in like a glycerin type thing, so the body accepts it. As a cancer patient or any kind of pain patient, you don't want a lot of sugar. That aggravates the body. You want to lower that. So I use this nano-infused syrup. It's only 10 grams of sugar per dose, but it's 40 milligrams of full spectrum, all the cannabinoids. So, and you know, that's the way you do it. And if you want information on that, I teach classes on how to be a cannabis activist, how to talk to your senators, how to get involved. I also teach a class from the patient's perspective. I can help you get a doctor's appointment wherever you are in the world with a cannabis physician.
You can put all the links that you provide
in
underneath here, so people can also find you.
Yeah. Well, I probably won't in this. If you reach out to me personally, then I will, because I don't want to associate really decent people with this garbage. Not that your show's garbage, but the topic of it. And let me say this too. This is tier 1. These little shows that's doing this stuff on the down low and they're sharing it. I am deliberately not making this big. I'm letting the people he's harmed do the sharing, and it's growing exponentially. I mean, thousands and thousands of people. Now, the next level is I am going to get my activist friends involved, and that means the domestic violence people, the sex trafficking people, the human rights people. I'm going to send these videos to major outlets like a press release in Baton Rouge, in Miami, all the places he's going. I am talking to Homeland Security. So let me just say that, I am.
Yeah.
I damn sure am. They contacted me. Gee, I wonder why. And then I'm going bigger. Then I'll go to shows like The View, Trevor Noah, and that sort of thing. You know, once I've gotten the army against this formed. And if you don't think an army of pissed off women aren't going to rise up and stomp the shit out of this, you know, I will have no. And I'm actually waiting for one of his nasty little trolls, and it almost happened yesterday because I'm waiting for this. They're going to post it, and I will have no choice but to address it. No choice. So then it will go all over my social media and my followers. All my women's rights marching activists.
I hope at least this...
And that's when the shit's going to hit the fan, big time.
I hope this will
and it's
at
still
least
not
limit
be me.
And make
I'm not going to be doing
people
it.
think about what they say and do. Maybe even ask for forgiveness. Let's hope anything can happen, because we don't know.
Right. Yeah. You know, this is literally the epitome of good versus evil. I have that charisma and stuff that he's got too. You know, but he's using it for bad.
And let's hope you get much more, because I see a bright future for you. And let's hope you get healthy as well, because it's actually kind of funny, because here in the Netherlands, we don't really, at this moment, when I'm talking with you, I don't think we have legalized oils and CBD, which, funny enough, is legal in the US, but for a long time, the weed plant was not legal. Kind of vice versa.
Right, right. And, and here's the thing. There was at one time a scientist that came on one of my shows that said there was over 300 different cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. And it's not just CBD and THC. One of the cannabinoids I really benefit from is CBG, because that is directing nerve pain. And I can take that without it toxifying my liver, without it adding weight, without it causing mental depression and stuff like that, because some of these, that's exactly what pharma does. So the way that cannabis works, these other cannabinoids, and then the terpenes in the plant, like the limonene and the myrcene, linalool is lavender. We know that lavender works to calm. So, there's a whole different spectrum that can be used to target, whatever you're going through. And it can be
if someone is, maybe we go a little bit off topic, but since you're an activist, if someone is still not convinced and they are still using pharmaceuticals, what would you say to that person to convince using herbals?
Mm-hmm. Start slowly. I am on chemo drugs. I'm using nano-infused cannabis full spectrum, so I have all the cannabinoids to deal with the nausea, to deal with the seizures that come from being on chemo, to deal with the other damages that it does to my body, because, the different cannabinoids are very, very beneficial for rebuilding cells, and that's why athletes like it. Especially head injury athletes, football athletes are very much, I can show you all kinds of studies on the repairs to the brain. But using it medicinally is entirely different than using it recreationally. And if I wanted to be high, I've got plenty of pharmaceuticals for that. One of the things that cannabis does, just like, you may go to your doctor and he'll go, okay, we're going to start at this low dose and we're going to slowly build up and then we're going to see how that works. So you do cannabis the same way. First, you find out what you need. You talk to a cannabis nurse, a cannabis doctor, somebody that really knows their biology, their synthesis, their endocannabinoid system. That's really important. You have one. You need to know about it. Find out what cannabinoids you need, and then let them slowly guide you. Maybe you need a 1-to-1 patch. Nobody smells that. Maybe you need something like I'm taking, a slow-release nano-infused. Maybe you need to dab. Maybe you've got violent nausea or extreme pain that comes on suddenly. I look at dabbing and people that dab, that's oxy equivalent to me.
Yes, I do. And actually,
so does that help you understand
a lot of people here in Amsterdam, they don't even get pro-weed because of the liberal stuff over here. You might not believe it, even though the country here has pretty liberal laws, the people can be quite conservative. And I personally tried my first weed after watching Joe Rogan, and someone might try weed listening to you. So yeah, it's funny that in the US people are getting more and more open, and we are getting behind. We are not the weed capital of the world anymore. We are not the 70s anymore. So
no, and neither is Denver, Colorado. Neither is Denver. And I think I told you when we were talking earlier that I worked on this on a national level. I was, helped with the MORE Act. And there's a huge push in the United States to stop it. But there's also a huge push of activists that are trying to expand
really happy to have you.
And help people understand.
And a lot of people also, you got a lot of influence. I think your first video is almost 5K at this point. It's going to be even more. And a lot of people got kicked out of the Hustler University by asking questions. Yeah. They might watch this. What do you want to say to these people who are were so
I hope they
into
do.
one person and now almost get shocked that everything they said is not true. What would you like to tell these people?
I understand that. And you'll see on my channel, there's a lot of people that go, why are you doing this? And I'm doing this because he's influencing people and messing with their mindsets and messing with their money based on lies. And that's not okay. He's destroying his family's history. He's destroying his heritage. And he's just making a mockery out of every good thing anybody tried to do for him. And he's doing that to inspire people, and that's not the way it's done. You don't inspire people with lies.
How can people find you?
Yeah.
I will put your link also down.
On my channel. Like I said, yeah. I get accused, tried to raise money for my GoFundMe, and the only reason why I put that on there is so that people can follow my health struggle, because it's been a struggle. Cancer's no picnic. And another reason I came out here is, you don't have to be a genius to figure out Louisiana's medical program isn't what Colorado's is. It nowhere near. I've gotten some of the best medical care here. And I can't say that.
The criticism that a lot of people here
but it's
give on the US besides guns is the healthcare, that it's incredibly expensive. Even if I hear the stories of my family members, I'm like, wow, that's so expensive. Yeah. Have you considered moving abroad?
Absolutely, I have. In fact, I've looked at Amsterdam. Here's the way the U.S. does it. If you have a hormone-based cancer, thanks to Obamacare, you immediately get Medicaid so that you can address it. That's what he did for women. He did that. But the problem is, to keep this medical care, you cannot have more than $2,300 a month. It forces you to stay poor. So what I've had to do is, especially through COVID, is I've been tutoring children that are following behind in reading and in that sort of thing. And I've been doing it privately because, my immune system's shot. I can't go into public. And I've also been doing marketing online. I can be 30 different people in a day. And just because he's erasing my comments, that doesn't mean I can't do anything. I can't see it. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Just here, let me switch emails. It's just really that simple. And, I've had, come doubting my computer skills. I'm deliberately not going to do it. I don't care if you share it, because that's not my responsibility. I'm concerned about what I'm doing.
We can wrap it up. What are you planning to do in the
question?
future? I've heard you said that you're going to go backwards, track everything that Justin has said in the podcast, and comment on that. Yeah. And what I'm doing, and for each host, I've emailed them and said, I will be critiquing. And I'm showing him the one that I did, the most honest video where I critiqued it. And I will be doing this to your show. If you want to be seen as somebody that has reliable content, I suggest you take the show down, because I'm going to be, unfortunately, exposing my son as a fraud. Yeah.
And what do you do? What do you do? When I had my show, I had that kind of situation. I had somebody come on, and I didn't do my homework, and I didn't check them out, and we had to take his show down, and that
that's
show
what you
was
should
on
do,
Roku,
indeed, if you have integrity.
and I took it down. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, man, if you're trying to build your site, you want reputable people on there. You want people that show up with court records and pictures. And
thank you so much, Julie,
back what they're
for
saying.
your time. And again, for the people who are watching this is not a bashing for Justin Waller. There have been things said online which is not true, and I think we can all say that we have to address that, whether it's positively or negatively, because I think Justin also has done some positive things. I'm wearing a suit because of him. And yeah, he also tells people that blue collar work is the future. So I think that's very good. I think people should follow that indeed, but not as dating advice and also not fresh and fit, because
I don't think they should follow anything, because he will say, and that's the way a manipulator does. Positive, 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 plant a seed, negative. Positive, 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 plant a seed,
let's
negative.
do that.
Don't listen to any of it. Not any of it. It's not genuine. You know, it's not genuine. It's not from the heart.
We hope to see you on more
It's from your
shows.
wallet.
Maybe in the future we can talk with each other again. And let's hope. And I'm pretty sure that you have helped more young men than, unfortunately, your son has done. God bless you.
Thank you.